Ladies and gentlemen, the return of the king, Aaron B. MMA, is here, and today I've got a very special video for you. We are doing the UFC 300 predictions coming up this Saturday. And let's go through the entire card. It's a monumental card, very, very good fights throughout the early prelims all the way up to the main event. And I'll give you my predictions. Now, the last time out, last pay-per-view, not very good. As you guys know, I picked Chito Vera to win that, and I don't want that to happen again. So, we're going to start off with the first fight on this card, which is Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. And my heart is telling me Cody Garbrandt, but my mind is telling me Deiveson Figueiredo, right? The way I can see Cody Garbrandt winning this fight is if he can outspeed him and use the takedowns. The only problem is, if he uses that style, is Figueiredo is going to press forward on Garbrandt. And we know Garbrandt has he's chinny, let's just say that. He's chinny. And he's got the long, rangy punches, and very powerful, very, very powerful. What Garbrandt needs to do in this matchup to win is stay on the outside, right? I was going to do a UFC 300 drinking game with this, and one of them was going to be Cody Garbrandt emoting. That would be awesome. If he can get off to a hot start and take him down when he needs to, outstrike him, take him down, and maybe potentially knock him out, that would be awesome. The only problem is, I think Figueiredo will be too good early and often. And look, Garbrandt's looked very good in his last two fights, but he's fought no one. He's fought nobodies in the UFC. And I think I can trust Deiveson Figueiredo to get this one done. I am going decision on this one. I know Garbrandt has been chinny recently in his career, but that was because he moved on to flyweight, and that's never good when you're cutting that much weight, and he did not look healthy at 125. But I'm still going Deiveson Figueiredo to get this one done by decision. Let's talk about the next fight. Bobby Green, Jim Miller. I'm going Jim Miller. Like, a lot of people are picking Bobby Green, and I understand. Bobby Green is very good, and the way for Bobby Green to win this matchup is using his speed, right? But Jim Miller, he's just crafty, right? This guy is still in the UFC at the age of like 40 years old, and he's still doing well. What he needs to do to win is the calf kicks and pressure, right? The way Bobby Green loses his fights is when he gets pressured up against the fence and has to defend and swing, right? He's usually down with his hands down, poking in the middle. You know, he's out there, he's going like this, pawn, quick jabs, quick, and he's always moving his head. But if you can get him against the fence, which I think Jim Miller can, and potentially use some of that wrestling, we could see Jim Miller winning. And I am going to go Jim Miller in this one as an underdog. I just like this play, and I think we'll see a Jim Miller win by decision again. Next up, we got Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez, and I'm going to go Jessica Andrade in this matchup. The reason why I'm picking her in this matchup is she's more imposing, right? Now, I figure in this matchup, right, Marina Rodriguez is really fast, and if she can get off early and frustrate Andrade, that is the path to victory for her. But people are doubting Andrade slightly in this matchup. Not really. She is the betting favorite. I've seen a majority of people pick her. But her last couple fights, you know, the fights that she's losing to top girls in WMMA. She's losing to Blanchfield. She's losing to Tatiana Suarez. Like, those are high-level mixed martial artists in the women's division. So I still trust Andrade. Like, she really slapped around Mackenzie Dern and made her look like a fool last time out. So I trust Jessica Andrade to get this one done by knockout in the second round. I think her pressure will be too much. I think if this goes to the mat, I trust her even more. And she has a notion of not being very good on the ground, but she is underrated on the ground. She just had to face some of the best grapplers in WMMA. Next up, Jaylen Turner versus Renato Moicano. And I'm going Jaylen Turner in this by round one knockout. And I like Renato Moicano. He's a funny guy. He really is a funny guy. And I like his personality. He does have an entertaining fight style, really good grappler. But the problem with this is every single time Renato Moicano takes on a dangerous, very good striker, he always seems to lose those matchups. And sure, if he can get Jaylen Turner down to the ground and use his jiu-jitsu, use his grappling skills, this will be Renato Moicano's fight. I just don't see it happening, though. I think Jaylen Turner is a very, very big lightweight, and he's going to pose a lot of problems to a lot of people. because he's so big. And his striking and his power is off the charts. And I really do think he will get this one done by knockout. I think we'll see like a body kick to an overhand right that'll finish the job. Maybe up against the fence, right, where he's in southpaw and he comes with the left kick and then he'll come over with the right hand. I could just see that happening. And I'm going round one, knockout by Jaylen Turner. Next up, we move on to the prelims. We got Sodiq Yusuff versus Diego Lopez. And I'm going to be biased, but I'm right. I'm going to go Diego Lopez here by round one submission. I just think right now he is just riding the hot hand. He has so much momentum coming into this matchup. And Sodiq Yusuff, last time out against Edson Barbosa, looked good early on and then faded early. Right, so we're going to see high flying, fireworks in the first couple rounds of this fight. But I see Diego Lopez getting this one done in one. He's such a fantastic finisher. And the thing why people hype up Diego Lopez so much and why I hype him up and why a lot of people hype him up is because he goes out there and tries to finish the fight, right? When people do that, right, when you're looking at unranked fighters, right, who are the better unranked fighters? The people that impose their will, know how to finish the fight, and have great skills. And I think Diego Lopez has all those going in his favor. Not to mention, he's got incredible aura. That guy is off the charts, right? That hair. The hair is amazing, right? Don't hate on the hair, right? It's growing out too, so I like it even more. But we're going to see Diego Lopez go in there, probably throw wild hooks, and then eventually he will take him down, and we'll see maybe a rear naked choke or a triangle submission. I just see a submission in this one. Diego Lopez is too talented to lose this matchup. And this is not discrediting Sodiq Yusuff. I think he can win a decision here if he plays safe with Diego. But I just think Diego Lopez will go out on his shield like he always does, and we will see a round one submission by Diego Lopez. So, Holm versus Kayla Harrison, and I'm going Kayla Harrison by submission in the second round. I think Holm is very prone to being submitted, and a lot of people aren't taking that into account in this fight. Kayla Harrison is a big 135er, and she's a very good grappler. And Holm, the way for her to win this fight, she needs to stay away from Kayla Harrison at all costs. She needs to run away, pick on the outside, but if she's going to get close, she needs a clinch against the fence where she is the one clinching her against the fence. Because if you let Kayla Harrison start clinching you up against the fence, that's where we see the trips, the takedowns, that's where we see the elbows. And I think Holm can avoid that until she can't. And I think Kayla Harrison will just be able to, she'll just use her size and her strength to outmuscle Holm in this matchup, who is 40 years old. Mind you, she is 40 years old, and there's two downsides to picking both of them. Kayla Harrison never made 135, and she's going down a weight class, and Holm's 40 years old. But I trust Kayla Harrison. And a lot of people give her shit for that Pacheco matchup. Pacheco's a really good PFL fighter, and I don't think people took that into account when they're thinking about this matchup. Holm is a very good pick if you want to go with an underdog, but I just see Kayla Harrison getting this one done by round two submission. Next up, we got Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. My boy Calvin Kattar returns after 18 months ACL surgery, and I don't think he's going to get this one done. I think Aljamain Sterling will be able to grapple Calvin Kattar. Now, Calvin Kattar has amazing takedown defense. One of the best takedown defenses in featherweight history. But people aren't taking into account Aljo moving up a weight, and that power in the grappling will be just as good. And the injury for Kattar, it's serious. Right, you'll see this when people come off of major surgeries like that. They just aren't the same, and it takes a while for them to get back into the swing of things. He took 18 months off, which is enough time for Kattar to get back in there, and I hope he wins. Kattar is one of my favorite fighters of all time, but I just see Aljamain Sterling being able to out-grapple Calvin Kattar, who he doesn't spend much time in the grappling, right? So how many rounds was Calvin Kattar really pushing in training camp for this? I just trust Aljo in this matchup. I would love to see Calvin Kattar get this one done. Really, I really would. But I think, unfortunately for Calvin Kattar, he will lose a decision here, probably a 29-28. We'll see Calvin Kattar, maybe the third round, start teeing off on Aljamain Sterling, maybe have him hurt, but I just don't think it will be enough for him. Again, I want him to win, but I'm going to go Aljamain Sterling by decision here. So we get Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic, right? And a lot of people are picking Rakic in this matchup because, right, what's Yuri Prochazka's Achilles heel? Sometimes you could say the grappling, but mainly it's the leg kicks. And Rakic has got very good leg kicks. But the only thing about Rakic that people are favoring him in this is that he can just take Yuri down. But we've seen Yuri getting taken down and improve his grappling position, right? So, although you can say you can take Yuri down, I think Yuri in this matchup can use his grappling effectively and get out of those bad spots. The only thing he's going to have to worry about is those leg kicks, but I'm not really worried about that. I think Yuri's just got a style that will pressure Rakic, right? If he's the one on the front foot, the leg kicks aren't going to matter. If you're moving backwards and throwing leg kicks, they just don't have the same effect. That's why I'm going Yuri Prochazka by knockout in this one. I'm going knockout in the second round again. I think Yuri will just be able to pressure forward. And if he's getting taken down, we know and we've seen in the Glover fight, right? He can get up from those positions. He can work submissions. I trust Yuri in this. Am I worried he got knocked out, a couple months ago? Yes, but he wasn't fully knocked out, right? We've seen that. It was an early stoppage. So I trust Yuri to get this one done. I'll say round 2 knockout for Yuri Prochazka. Opening up the main card, Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage. And my boy MMA Now 27, I see you out there, right? I see you pick Cody Brundage. And as much as I want to pick Cody Brundage, I can't see that happening, right? I see Bo Nickal getting this one done, probably in the first round by a finish of some sort, right? Bo Nickal has yet to prove how good he really is. We have yet to tap into the potential of Bo Nickal, right? Every single one of his fights have been pure domination from start to finish, right? But you can talk about the nut shot against Jamie Pickett. You can talk about how Val Woodburn just isn't that good. We see the potential with Bo Nickal, and I think Bo Nickal will get this one done. They're hyping up Cody Brundage to be he is a college wrestler, right? But the equivalence of wrestling, right? I'm a wrestler. I grew up wrestling. I know the difference of wrestling. It won't be that close. Bo Nickal is 10 times better of a wrestler than Cody Brundage. And I think, with the power on his feet and the ability to take him down at the same time, just being able to mix it both will just be very hard for Cody Brundage, who has been exposed for maybe not so much wrestling, but not being that high IQ fighter that we think he is. So I'm going Bo Nickal by a round 1 finish by, whatever he really wants. A prop bet for this one, I would say go under your prize picks, and I picked this one myself. Under 4-minute fight time. There's no way this goes over 4 minutes either way. But I'm getting Bo Nickal round 1 finish. We got Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. One of my favorite fights on this card. And guys, I'm going Charles Oliveira. I don't see this one going to decision. And if it's going to decision, if it's not going to decision, who you trusting? Charles Oliveira or Arman Tsarukyan? Charles, right? Arman Tsarukyan hasn't submitted someone in, 5-6 years? So take that out of the possibility. Plus with a guy who has amazing submission game as Charles Oliveira, trust that in him. The wild style on his feet will make him very effective. And people now are buying into the hype of Arman Tsarukyan because what? He knocked out Beneil Dariush. You know who also knocked out Beneil Dariush? Charles Oliveira. And Arman Tsarukyan, outside of the one fight against Beneil Dariush, has shown no power in the hands. His kicks are decent, but when you're going up against a juggernaut like Charles Oliveira, who will be on the front foot the entire time, I just trust Charles Oliveira to get this one done. And I'm going round 1 submission. I think he will, similar to the Justin Gaethje matchup, I think he'll drop him, and it'll be a hype moment, and they'll start scrambling around, and all of a sudden, Charles will latch up a rear naked choke, and it'll be a crazy moment. The arena will go crazy, and Charles Oliveira will get it done. And I just trust Charles Oliveira. I think it's blasphemy that he's an underdog in this matchup, because Arman, although he is very talented in wrestling, although he is shown to have improved in the striking, look, Charles Oliveira has taken 10 months off now. I think he's fully refreshed, and I think, he's hitting this is the final stride of Charles Oliveira's career. He's 34 years old. I think he gets it done in the first round by submission. Check it. Book it. Charles Oliveira is winning at UFC 300. The BMF title is on the line. And we have Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. This is my favorite fight on the card for so many reasons, just because it's the unknown, right? So let's talk about Justin Gaethje first, the BMF champion, former interim champion. He was in line to potentially get a title shot against Islam Makhachev. Instead, he fights for another BMF belt, which he already won by beating Dustin Poirier. And Justin Gaethje has a lot of power in his hands, and he will be the bigger guy. Just because Max Holloway is the natural featherweight and the natural lightweight in Justin Gaethje, he will just naturally have more power. But let's just get into Holloway here. Let's get into Holloway before I break down the fight and what my prediction is. Holloway, former featherweight champion of the world, amazing striker, granite chin, what people are forgetting about, just granite chin, and he's going to have the youth and speed advantage in this. So my prediction for this is Max Holloway will get this one done in the 4th round by knockout. Why am I picking Max Holloway to win this by knockout? First of all, Justin Gaethje is very, very prone to being wobbled in a lot of matchups. And you may be saying, well, Max Holloway doesn't have that much power. It doesn't matter about the power. He can, we don't see Gaethje getting dropped by these mega power punchers, right? Dustin Poirier is a power puncher. He wobbled Justin Gaethje and made him do the Irish jig in the middle of the dance floor, in the middle of the octagon. But I think Max Holloway will be able to put the pressure on him. And if this is going 5 rounds, right, they both have decent cardio to go 5 rounds. I trust Max Holloway to have more volume in the 5 rounds. Plus, they both change their styles up a little bit, where they're both a little bit more defensively sound in their fights. And people are thinking because of that, Justin Gaethje will be able to use his power to mitigate whatever Max Holloway is throwing, because he won't be throwing as much. But with the size now packed onto Max Holloway, pause, but Max Holloway has had a full camp to bulk up, right? This isn't the short notice 155 debut against Dustin Poirier. This is a full training camp dedicated to get up to 155. And Max Holloway is one of the best strikers of our generation, right? We talk about Alexander Volkanovski being one of the best. Max Holloway's right up there with him. And I think when it comes down to this, I trust a guy who's got a better chin, who I trust more in 5-rounders. And being able to melt an opponent is something that will be able to be in the favor of Max Holloway, right? Because this is not going to the ground at all. This will not go to the ground because Gaethje's got tremendous takedown defense. Max Holloway's got tremendous takedown defense. And regardless, they don't really shoot takedowns unless, Max is fighting Yair Rodriguez, which you need to. But I think we'll see Max Holloway melt. I think we'll see Gaethje turn it on early. He'll land a lot more stinging, powerful punches that will hurt Holloway. But then Holloway will start to turn it up. The volume will start to come. The kicks to the body, right? The low kicks. The low kicks could be effective for Holloway in this matchup. Then he'll start pouring it out with his hands, body, head, body, head. And in the 4th round, eventually he will drop Justin Gaethje and get this one done in the 4th round. Next up, Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan. And I've got Zhang Weili by dominant decision. I think the grappling will just be too much, right? Another prop bet on Price Picks take right now. Take Zhang Weili over 3.5 takedowns. We will see her shoot and shoot and shoot, because it's the easiest path to victory for Zhang Weili. She figured out in her last matchup against Amanda Lemos, right? If I'm fighting this dynamic striker with power in her hands, you can take her down easily. And it's an easy route for Zhang Weili now. I'm not saying she can't stand with Yan Xiaonan, but to get the most out of her, juice and dominate the much. What the fuck am I saying? Juice? To dominate, Zhang Weili will use a grappling, and we might see Yan Xiaonan get around in like the 2nd or 3rd, where we might see, okay, all right, Zhang Weili needs to start turning it on, and then she'll start pouring in the takedowns, and She'll eventually melt her, and this will be a dominant decision, maybe a 49-46, maybe 50-45. Zhang Weili is too good right now. She's hitting her stride. She's tapping into her full potential. And I just trust her to win this matchup. Next up, the big boys. The main event for UFC 300, Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill. Oh my God, am I excited for this fight. I could see this going either way. I really am. And before I give you my official pick, I need to know who you guys have in the main event down below. I want you to comment. Give me how you think the fight's going to go. And yeah, I mean, you can do it for any fight, but I want to hear about the main event. I already did a poll on my YouTube channel for the BMF title, so I want to hear what you guys think about in the comments down below. But nonetheless, I'm going Alex Pereira in this matchup. Same reason why I picked Aljamain Sterling to beat Kattar. The surgery, the layoff. It's an Achilles tear, right? And it's been 9 months, almost 10 months, maybe not even, since he has torn his Achilles. Now, he can say all he wants in the media about how he's okay, how he's full strength. It just can't be the case. It can't be the case. Unless he's on some freaky, shit that he could just recover that fast, which if it is, that's crazy. But we'll see Pereira at his absolute best. I think this will be the best version of Pereira we will see. Reason number one, I think, in these heavier weight classes, the primes last a little longer for these guys. Just because you're not so used to using the speed and the endurance, and that's not how heavyweights and light heavyweights work. So usually you're primed to being a light heavyweight and heavyweights around 35, 36. And maybe a little bit younger, right? But we see these guys really tap into their full potential because the power will still be there, and now all their skills are refined, right? They're not used to having to use all the speed and the endurance. Why am I picking Pereira? I think he will knock him out in the third round. I think the leg kicks, especially on that lead front leg, which Jamal Hill tore his Achilles in, will be effective for Pereira, right? Pereira's got the best leg kicks in MMA. Let's stop beating the bush. He's got the best leg kicks in MMA. And with that, also has the best left hook in MMA. Two of the weakest points for Jamal Hill. The torn Achilles in that lead leg will be beat to shit. And plus, Jamal Hill has been shown in his fights to have that left hook exposed. And Jamal Hill has amazing striking. I'm not doubting Jamal Hill. If he wins this, I will actually not be very surprised. Because Jamal Hill is very special. And the only time he's really lost is when he got his arm snatched against Paul Craig. But I think he's rushing this a little too early, right? If we had waited another month, maybe another 2, maybe I would have my thoughts shifted on this matchup. But Pereira he's the ultimate guy right now. He's the 205 king. I mean, after he beat Yuri, I just didn't see another guy outside of Magomed Ankalaev really giving him trouble in this. And Jamal Hill is talented. He is very good. I would like to see him win. That would be crazy. But I think Pereira will use that left hook and calf kick. I mean, the two most basic weapons that he's got. But, I mean, it's true. I mean, that will be effective all day. The way Jamal Hill can win this matchup, though, is if he can start getting that left hand. If he's sitting in southpaw all day and that left hand and that left high kick's there all day, it could be problem for Pereira. And if we do see a Jamal Hill knockout, I think we'll see that left high kick knockout that he butchered Glover with over and over. And if Pereira's not careful, that could, effectively put him out. But I just think right now my chips are on Pereira. I see him getting this one done by a round 3 knockout. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm back like I never fucking left. But yeah, if you like this video, like and subscribe. Comment on some video ideas below. Comment who you guys want to win for UFC 300. And yeah, till next time, peace.